Right before everything in your life changes for the better, something strange happens. It does not feel like a build-up to good things. It feels like the opposite. It feels like everything is falling apart, intensifying, getting harder rather than easier. And this is the part of the process that confuses almost everyone because it runs completely counter to what we expect. We expect that signs of imminent good would feel like good. We expect that the moments right before our reality transforms would be moments of building peace and clarity. But that is not how it works. The way it actually works is that right before a major upgrade, you get tested. And the test is often the hardest part of the entire journey, even though it sits at the very end of it. I want to talk about that test today, why it happens, what it looks like, how to recognize it for what it is rather than misreading it as evidence that something has gone wrong. Because the people who recognize the test as a test pass through it, and the people who misread it as a sign of failure or abandonment turn back at the exact moment they were about to break through. The difference between those two outcomes is not luck. It is awareness. It is the ability to see what is happening clearly while you are in the middle of it. And that is what I want to give you, so that when the test comes, or if it is happening right now, you know what you're looking at, and you can move through it instead of being stopped by it. Let me explain why the test exists in the first place, because if you do not understand its purpose, it will seem cruel and arbitrary, when actually it serves a specific function. The test exists because what you're about to step into requires a version of you that has been fully tested. Not partly tested, fully tested. And there is one quality in particular that the upgrade is checking for, and that quality is whether you will hold steady when it would be easier to collapse. Because here's what happens when people receive a major upgrade in their lives before they have been fully tested. They lose it. Not always immediately, but at some point, when the inevitable difficulties arise in the new reality, they collapse because they never proved to themselves that they could hold steady through difficulty. And the new reality, which they were not equipped to sustain, slips away. So, the test before the upgrade is actually protective. It ensures that you have proven to yourself, definitively, that you can stay grounded when things get hard. Because the new reality you are stepping into will have its own challenges, and you need to know in your bones that you can meet challenges without breaking. The test is how that knowing gets established. So, the test is not punishment, it is qualification. It is the final exam that confirms you're ready for what is coming by demanding from you the exact qualities that the new reality will require. And the intensity of the test is calibrated to the magnitude of the upgrade. Small upgrades come with small tests. The kind of upgrade that changes your reality forever comes with a test commensurate with that scale. So, if the test you're in right now feels enormous, that is information about how enormous what is on the other side of it actually is. I want to describe what the test typically looks like because the form it takes is fairly predictable, and recognizing the pattern helps you identify when you are in it. The test usually involves the universe pressing on whatever your particular weak point has been throughout the journey. If your weak point has been faith, the test will make faith feel impossible. If your weak point has been patience, the test will make patience feel unbearable. If your weak point has been trust, the test will give you 1,000 reasons to distrust everything. The test goes after whatever has historically been the most likely thing to make you give up, and it pushes on that exact spot with maximum force. This is precise rather than random. The universe, or your own deeper development, or whatever framework you use to think about these things, knows exactly where your weakest point is. And the test goes there because that is where the qualification is needed. If you can hold steady under maximum pressure on your weakest point, you have demonstrated that you can hold steady under any pressure. So the test seems unfair in a particular way. It hits you where you are most vulnerable, not where you are most strong. And that targeting can feel cruel, but it is actually efficient. It is the fastest way to establish definitively that you are ready for what comes next. So, when you find yourself being tested in the exact area where you have historically struggled most, do not interpret that as the universe being unfair or specifically targeting you. Interpret it as confirmation that you are in the qualification phase of a major upgrade, and that the test is going precisely where it needs to go in order to do its work. The fact that it is hitting your weak point is not a sign that the system is broken. It is a sign that the system is working exactly as it is designed to work. There's a particular emotional experience that tends to accompany the test, and I want to name it so you can recognize it. The emotion is something like a strange combination of exhaustion and acute despair, often more intense than what you have felt at any other point in the journey. People in the test often describe it as feeling like everything is suddenly worse than it has ever been, even though they had been steadily improving up until that point. It can come with a flooding of doubt, a sudden conviction that you have been wrong about everything, a sense that whatever you were hoping for is definitely not going to happen. This emotional intensification is part of the test. It is not separate evidence that things are bad. It is the test itself showing up as emotion. The test is not just external circumstances. It is the internal experience of being pressed on at maximum intensity. And the despair you may feel during it is part of what is being tested. Specifically, whether you can stay oriented toward what you have been moving toward, even in the presence of overwhelming emotional evidence that everything is hopeless. So, if you have been feeling unusually hopeless lately, unusually exhausted, unusually convinced that things will not work out, please consider the possibility that you are not actually experiencing the truth of your situation. You're experiencing the test, and the test is supposed to feel exactly like this. If it did not produce this kind of intense doubt and despair, it would not be doing its job. So, the very intensity of what you're feeling is data. It is information that you are in the qualification phase, not information that the journey has gone wrong. Let me say something practical about how to pass the test, because passing it is not complicated, though it is hard. The way to pass the test is to do nothing dramatic in response to it. Specifically, do not abandon the path you have been on. Do not reverse the decisions you have made. Do not undo the work you have been doing just because the test is making it feel like all of those were wrong. The test is designed to make you doubt everything, to want to retreat, to convince you that giving up would be the wise move. And the way you pass it is to feel all of that and not act on any of it. This is a strange instruction because we are used to thinking of passing tests as requiring some kind of action. But this test is different. This test is passed through non-action, through continuing what you were already doing without dramatic reversal, through staying the course while the test screams at you to abandon it. The action of the test is internal. It is the internal choice to keep going when everything is telling you to stop. And that internal choice, made repeatedly while the test is happening, is what constitutes passing it. So, if you're in the test right now, what you need to do is essentially nothing new. You don't need to come up with a new plan. You don't need to find a different path. You don't need to dramatically change direction. You need to keep doing what you have been doing, walking the path you've been walking, while the test pulls at you with everything it has to make you turn back. Stay the course, feel the despair, feel the exhaustion, feel the doubt, and stay the course anyway. That is how you pass. I want to address something about what happens during the test that is worth knowing, because it can be especially disorienting. During the test, the things you have been relying on for support often seem to weaken or fail. The practices that usually steady you may stop working as well. The sources of encouragement you typically turn to may not be available or may not land the way they usually do. The internal resources that you've come to count on may seem to dry up. And this can feel like everything is being taken from you right when you need it most. This is part of the test too. It is not abandonment. It is removal of the supports that you have been leaning on, so that what is being tested is you. Specifically, not you, plus your supports. The test is checking what you are made of, not what your supports are made of. So, during the testing period, the supports may be pulled back, leaving you to draw on something deeper than the supports you normally rely on. And what you find when you reach for that deeper source is one of the most important discoveries of the entire journey. You find that you are more substantial than you knew, that there is something inside you, beneath the supports, that can hold you up when everything else has failed. And that discovery, that direct experience of your own deeper substance, is one of the gifts the test is delivering. You needed to know that you had that depth in you. The test was the way you found out. So, when the usual supports fail during the test, do not panic. Do not interpret it as evidence that you are alone or that something has gone wrong. Interpret it as the test doing its work, removing the support so that your own deeper strength can be revealed to you. And reach for that deeper strength. It is there. You will find it. And finding it is one of the most important things that happens during this phase. There's something specific that often happens at the very peak of the test, right before it breaks. The intensity reaches a level that feels impossible to bear, and you find yourself in something like a crisis point, a moment where it genuinely feels like you cannot continue, like something has to give, like you cannot survive another day of this. That peak moment is the most important moment of the entire process because what happens at that peak determines whether you pass the test or get sent back through it. What is supposed to happen at the peak is that you do not break, that you reach the maximum intensity, feel the full weight of it, and still do not abandon the path. And the strange thing is that the moment you hold steady through the peak, the test begins to release. The intensity starts to dissolve. The despair starts to lift. The exhaustion starts to ease because the test has gotten what it needed. It needed you to hold steady at maximum pressure. And once you have done that, even for a single moment at the peak, the test is complete. There's nothing more it needs to verify, so it lets go. And what comes after it lets go is the upgrade itself, which has been waiting on the other side of the test all along. So if you're approaching what feels like a peak right now, hold on, specifically through the peak. Just stay there through the maximum intensity without abandoning the path. That holding through is the entire test. And once you hold through it, the test ends and the upgrade begins. So here's where I want to leave you today. The universe tests you before your reality changes forever. And the test is designed to look and feel exactly like things falling apart. Exactly like evidence that you should give up. Exactly like the worst moment of the journey. It pushes on your weakest point with maximum force. It floods you with despair and doubt. It removes your usual supports. It brings you to a peak that feels unbearable. And all of this happens not because something is wrong, but because something is right. The test is the qualification for what is coming. It is the final exam before the upgrade. And the very fact that you are being tested this hard means that what is on the other side of the test is significant enough to require this level of qualification. So, if you are in the test, you do not have to figure out a new strategy. You do not have to dramatically change anything. You just have to hold steady. Keep walking the path. Stay the course. Feel everything you are feeling without letting it cause you to turn back. Reach for the deeper strength inside you when the usual supports falter, and especially hold through the peak when it comes. That is the moment everything turns. And once you hold through it, the test releases, and the new reality begins. You're not failing, you're being qualified. The intensity you are experiencing is not evidence that things have gone wrong. It is evidence of how big what is coming actually is. The harder the test, the more significant the upgrade. So if this is the hardest moment of your journey, that may be exactly because it is the last hardest moment of your journey. Because on the other side of it is the new reality that has been waiting for you to be fully tested before it could finally arrive. So, hold on. Stay the course. Pass through the test because what is on the other side of it is everything you've been working toward. And the test is the only thing standing between you and the rest of your life. You have come too far to turn back now. The test is real, but it is also the last thing in your way. Hold through it and let the upgrade begin. And if these words found you at exactly the moment you needed them, I want you to leave one word in the comments. Ready. Not for me, but as a promise to yourself that no matter how hard the test becomes, you won't turn back. Because your breakthrough may be closer than you think, and one day you'll look back at this moment and realize this wasn't the end of your journey. It was the moment you refused to quit.